Okay, so please off your mic. Okay, there will be some disturbance if you still on your mic there. Okay, okay. Let's take a look. Wait, let me try to do a little bit recap. Okay, we are in a three vehicle. Okay, well, number one is the stages of practicing in the three vehicle. Part one is knowing the object clearly. Okay, so meaning to say that okay, we target for three vehicle as a main audience. All right, and there could be different aspect of this practitioner. So third one is the concluding reminding of all practicing the path and aim at liberations. Second stage, we explain the elements that make up this path. What is the elements? That is the Four Noble Truths and the law of dependent originations. Okay. Well, the detailing the causes and results relating to the mundane and supramundane world according to the Four Noble Truths. Okay, we have already finished overview of the Four Noble Truths and including the detailed explanation for Four Noble Truths. Okay, so meaning to say the Noble Truth of suffering, meaning to say that the Noble Truth of suffering consists of 8 elements, but the 5 aggregate is the major one. If we don't have 5 aggregate, we don't have our body, the other 7 of the suffering won't occur. All right. Then we go to the second noble truth is about the accumulation of the suffering, which is the attachment and also the ignorance. The third one is on the cause and result of the supramundane world is about the cessation of suffering, which is nibbana. We have go through also. Now it's about the noble truth of the path to cessation of suffering. That is 8 noble paths. But well, let me take a look. Here, I think from here we add in one more element. Is about the law of dependent originations, which is our syllabus today. It's about a law of dependent of origination. So class, let's take a look. Okay, in our previous lesson, let's try to go through a little bit now. Okay, our previous lesson is about cloaked in ignorance, bound by the knots of desire, the body with consciousness continue ceaselessly continuous. Meaning to say that for the dependent origination, we have already started the dependent origination. Now we go through to the details for each of the links, each of the elements. You see, we start with the consciousness. Then we mentioned about Agama Sutra, remember? We briefly introduced the history of Buddhism to understand the origin of the Agama Sutra, right? Which is bound by the knots of desire. One obtains body with the consciousness. Okay, remember that for the Four Noble Truths, which is explained in a horizontal way. But a 12 dependent condition is in the vertical way. Then, besides this, we talk about that desire has the effect of attachment, and it is a knots. In regards to the affliction, ignorance afflicts knowledge and is the confusion of connections. Desire afflicts emotion and is the attachment of volitional action. So from here, we all talk about karma, desire, ignorance are the causes for the aggregates of a future life. So now, then besides this, the other point is ignorance, desire, and consciousness in the three-link teaching are therefore interchangeable with ignorance, volition, action, and consciousness in the 12-link teaching. Okay, and finally become a new life. So class, let's take a look. Now we're talking about the dependent origination and also the Four Noble Truths. this is the most unique part in terms of religions. Yesterday, we talked about the yogaism, remember? I mean, the way we see it, the awakening of the Kundalini from the Muladhara chakra crawling up to the crown chakra, it still is a samadhi only. But for the yogaism, they will interpret it as liberation. And according to them, mantra is the ultimate path for liberation. So once you talk to the yogaism, you will notice that they have this type of perception, and I don't know whether I should put it sadly to say, or it is understandable that some of our Mahayana Sutra does mention that chanting the mantra itself will lead to liberation. So you have to be careful. Okay, you see, we have many people embracing Mahayana, right? Okay, maybe they already accept the explanation that, oh, mantra itself can lead for liberation. So this is the change of the definition of the Buddhism along chronologically, and also with the historical background. Why? Because once the Buddhism developed to the time of the secret school time, Buddhism itself kept on absorbing many elements for survival. We understand that. I mean, we know it is good to be having a pure Buddhism, but the problem is, if the pure Buddhism is not attractive, what for? The way I see like Mahayanist Buddhism and the Tibetan Buddhism, you can see it as an icing cake, the icing part, and we need the icing to spread on the cake in order we can use more cake. So we can think in this way. So actually, I talked with my Dharma brother. My Dharma brother is teaching on behalf of Ajahn Brahm, his meditation, and he is on behalf of Ajahn Brahm. I mean, most of the time, he focused on Nikaya, I focus on Abhidhamma, but both of us are originated from Mahayana. So the way is, we would abandon our Mahayana, but we will reinterpret it. For example, once you talk about mantra itself leads for liberation, we will say that it might not be proper, it might not be accurate, and the meaning might be changing along the history due to the historical fact. So meaning to say that now, if we talk about the enlightenment, we still agree that Four Noble Truth and the 12 dependent origination is the main part. And this is very unique, and it's the special feature in the Buddhism. So class, please bear in mind, once we know all the teaching between the school, you will be more, I mean, your confidence will be consolidated. Why? Because you know the pros and cons very well, right? So class, okay, if you compare the Four Noble Truths and also the theory in the yogaism, which one do you think is more logic for the liberation? Mr. Leong is freezing again. Okay. Oh, you are unfreeze already. Okay, again now. Okay, you freeze and unfreeze. The line, the Wi-Fi is so bad. But never mind. Just open the mind. We try to finish the Four Noble Truths and Eight Noble Paths. Then you try to compare. You will see, oh, which one is more better and higher. And the understanding of yogaism at the same time will make you understand the Taoism also. The orthodox Taoism emphasizes on meditation too, right? Okay. So now let's continue. Okay, let's take a look. Now we go to the new verses. It's the verse number 77. Okay, okay, Elena, please.
I thought we are at the first paragraph of 135.
First paragraph, I thought we finished the whole thing, right?
No.
No.
Until where did this new life come
okay,
from?
yes, where did, yeah, please.
Where did this new life come from? It was initiated by the karmic seed of the previous life. Karma is the link of volitional action. When the previous life finally ended, although the body and mind broke down, the karmic energy created from the past was not extinguished. When and where the causes and conditions were, suffering or happy recipient body form according to the different evil or good karmic forces, becoming a new individual. Karma's engendering of results is not separable from the tree. Tolerance is for affliction of the eye and mind being. In this way, because of afflictions, ignorance, and the karma action of past life, the beginning of the present life consciousness arises. The sequence leading from ignorance to actions to consciousness explain the journey of birth and death from the past to the present.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Elena, if you finish highlighting, please thumb up.
If you can press it up.
Can.
Up. Cannot see the bottom
Okay,
line.
okay, yeah. Now I have to wait the Elena first. He's a little bit slow. She's a little bit slow. Okay, class. Shall we finish? Okay. We are still in the dependent origination. From this paragraph, can anybody tell me that where are we in the position of the 12th dependent? I mean the 12th link of the dependent origination. Which one elements are we? Huh? Can anybody tell me that? Yes, please take a look. Check the paragraph. Which part are we now?
Past cause.
Yes. Past cause, yes. Meaning to say that we're in the ignorance mental formation. Am I right? And we are about in the conscious.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we are in this part. Yes, this is correct. Okay, how do we understand this part? For example, let's say this is our previous life. So this is our present life. Okay, now four of us are human. Okay, so we got a consciousness and we got a body and mind and the body matter as a human. All All right. Then our consciousness, we get the body from our parents. But how come we will reincarnate? The reason is because the last moment we die, the karma ripen. Okay, there is a different. In our previous life, we have already created a lot of karma. We create multiple karma, both good and bad. Some karma is heavy, some is light. Some karma is habitual, some is not habitual. All right. Then so this is the karma we create. But finally, the karma which really play role and take place to give me to become our body is the the karma ripen is the karma which provide us the body and the mind. So that is the karma. This is the ripened karma, and the ripened karma due to what? Basically, it has something to do. Maybe we have done the dana, we hold the precept very well, and the effect is strong, and it play roles the moment we die, and the karma bring us to our next life, and now we become human now. So in our previous life, I believe that 4 of us, okay, maybe 5 precepts. Among the 5 precepts, we got 1 precept is very good, or we also do the dana, okay, and if during you do the vipassana, your meditation master will try to help you to scrutinize which one of the karma to bring you to this life, in order to make you really understand that what is our past causes, or what is the past causes to bring us to this life. So that is the wonderful of the vipassana. Okay, that's the wonderful of vipassana. But okay, if let's say we are able to check our past life, especially can scrutinize which one karma to bring us to this life, do you think that it is a psychic, Sally? Is psychic involved so that we can check our past life, which one past life karma to bring us to this life? Is psychic involved?
Psychic may be able to help us to find out our past life.
No, maybe. Okay, not maybe. Not maybe. The answer is definitely yes or no. If without involving psychic, can we know without involving psychic?
No.
No. How about Elena? No. Okay. How about Mr. Lim?
Yes, you can.
Yes. Okay. Through the power of vipassana, and the vipassana must be supported with a strong jhana. Because if without a strong jhana, it is not easy for us to check to the past life. The nimitta must be very strong, the light must be very strong to bring you there. Well, I read through some article. Okay, I remember in one case, he tried to check his past life. But he confused because 3 karma arise in his mind during the meditation. Once he tried to check. 1, he do the dana to the Sangha community. 2nd, he do the dana maybe just for the poor. The 3rd one is he is liberation. He is liberating the animal. So he confused. How come three karma arise? Once he tried to check. Okay, if that's the case, he had to refer back to his meditation master, and his meditation master have special skills to guide him to scrutinize which one is it. Once he is able to scrutinize, the karma, meaning to say that he is already clear about what is the mental formation to bring him to the consciousness. So that is the meaning. So okay, so we have talked about all this. Okay, now we go to the number 77. Sally, please, verses number 77.
Originating in consciousness, there is a name and form. From this come the 6 sense organs. The meeting of faculties and objects forms contract. From contract comes sensation. Through sensation arises desire. Increasing desire becomes clinging. Therefore, they accumulate to form the existence in the future, and birth, aging, and death all follow. In the 12-fold dependent origination, consciousness is the beginning of the lifespan. Some sutras start depending Some sutras start dependent origination with consciousness. This is because they trace the activities of the body and mind back to the stage of continuing mutual production of entanglement and rebirth, which comes from consciousness. In this, in this way, they reach the nucleus, the consciousness that brings about the retribution of birth and death. It it would seem that the scholars of Yogacara school also take alaya consciousness as the nucleus, cleaning all the defilements in birth and death are in accord with the Buddha's original teaching. Through this consciousness bound to rebirth, name and form arise. Name is mental, form is physical. Because consciousness is bound to rebirth, the body and mind begin to develop. Okay, according to the sutras, not only do name and form arise because of consciousness, but also consciousness arise because of name and form. This means that on the one hand, the existence of all activities of our body and mind are dependent on the embracing of the grasping consciousness. Yogacarins call it the adana consciousness. And on the other hand, the grasping consciousness is dependent on the activities of the body and mind. This is similar to the situation in which without a leader there cannot be an organization and activities of the people. Yet, if there is no people, there's no point in there being a leader. Nevertheless, in the 12-fold dependent origination, the emphasis is on the consciousness causing name and form. This can be explained by observing that on the onset after the union of the sperm and egg, name and form are still in the embryonic stage.
Okay, thank you. We try to digest first. Elena, thumb up once you finish. thumb up once you finish. Okay, thank you so much. First of all, maybe I try to explain the terminology of a yoga chara school to make you more clear. Yoga chara school. No need, it's okay. Class, according to our diagram, remember that the beginning of our life is started with the consciousness. All right. So this is our first life. If you still remember, I mean the circle, the 12th link of the circle. That is, we begin with the consciousness. And according to most of the sutra, from the consciousness, and we start to build the body and the mind, right? And where is the body and mind come from? It is due to the union of the sperm and also the ovum from our parents. Okay, when it's once both of it unite together, the consciousness appear. Okay, and how do we define consciousness? If further go to talk about Yogacarya school, why? Because Yogacarya, they try to explain that the consciousness. According to the Yogacarya school, he believed that the consciousness, the development of the consciousness to the Yogacarya school is about further compared with the Abhidhamma. Basically, if we talk about the consciousness, maybe we just talk about that the consciousness just until the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, meaning to say that eye, ear, nose, tongue, all these things only. It doesn't go to the deeper. But for Yogacarya, they say, according to their experience and also some the teaching, the consciousness number 7 and the consciousness number 8 actually does exist. Especially the conscious number 8, they call it as alaya. Just now we highlight the name as alaya. Okay, let's take a look. This is the alaya. You see alaya. Alaya is from the root lie, L-I-E, meaning to say that this is the consciousness which is lying, within our heart, okay, which is lying within our body, within our heart. And the lying consciousness is so subtle. How does the Yogacarya conclude that the existence of the alliance, the consciousness of a lion, this is due to the Nirodha Samadhi. Remember that Nirodha Samadhi is the Samadhi which appeared that once the people meditate, if you go to check their mind, you will find that this guy no mind. The meditator is in a no mind situation. Why? Because Nirodha Samadhi is able to eradicate our feeling consciousness and also the perception consciousness. Once the disappearance of the feeling and also the perception consciousness, meaning to say that the yogi will experience the state of mindless. But even though it is mindless, but when the people emerge from the samadhi, he is still alive. So why? If that's the case, why? There must be something which try to support during the yogi doing the meditation, right? There should be some very subtle which is undetectable. Because according to the previous sutra, they mentioned that the guy, by using the psychic to check the one with the Nirodha Samadhi, they can't check anything. They found that this guy, it seems like die already. But no, he's still alive. He can emerge from, when he come out from the Samadhi, he's still alive. So from this perception, from this case study, the Yogacarya conclude that there must be the eight consciousness, which is so subtle until generally people cannot check it out. So that is the reason why it mentioned the alaya consciousness. This is the grasping consciousness, and grasping consciousness is the adhana consciousness, which is the seventh consciousness. Seven consciousness make us have the perception that the existence of I, especially for Mahayana. A class, remember that Yogacaryan and also the Madhyamika is under the they are under the school of the Mahayana. This is let's try to check the chronology for our Buddhism to know where are the Yogacaryan and the Madhyamika in our history of Buddhism. Yogacarya, Buddhism. History. Chronological. Let's take a look. About 5,000 years, about 500 years before Christ, there's a Sangha community after Buddha Parinibbana, right? But and then I mean about it take about 100 years after Buddha and the Parinibbana, about 100 years, Buddhism split to Mahasamgika and also Stiwara. And remember, again, from the Stiwara, the split against to the Savastivada. I mean, this is the school which provide Mahayana majority of the texts. This is the school. And from the Mahasamgika, it comes to these two schools, and from these two schools, it starts to develop to Mahayana. The establishment of Mahayana is about the 1st century. It's about the 1st century, and in Mahayana, it's split to Madhyamika and Yogacara. Okay, and then it developed to the Tantric. So just now we talk about the Yogacara. This is the Yogacara, which is under the Mahayana. Basically, the teaching of the three vehicle is under what? Is under the Theravada and the Sarvastivadi. Meaning to say that the establishment of the Yoga Achara, they are later than the Theravada and also the Sarvastivadi, maybe about 100 years, 100 to 200 years. Then they start to have this type of perception that, oh, there is the 8 consciousness, there is the 7 consciousness. Once you talk about to the Theravada monk, they say, oh, this is the additional from the later people, from the Chinese. They used to explain this way. The reason is this, this type of the perception, this type of the Buddhism, the doctrine of the Buddhism is under development stage a long time. This is normal, But once the development of the Buddhism and once they reach to the Theravada, they're very conservative. They don't want to go to further. They ban it from further developing. But one is go to the Mahayana, is keep on further developer. It's keep on further developing, and more new ideas come out and add in now. Some is based on the meditation experience, but some maybe they got a deduction from the Buddha teaching. They make it more complete, more comprehensive. Okay, so class, do we get it? Or I make things more complicated, Sally, you feel happy or you feel more complicated with the explanation?
Complicated.
Yeah, God. Even though it's complicated, but it is understandable, Elena. It is understandable for you. This is a silly laughing away. I think it is not understandable for you. But Mr. Leung is okay, right? You got the background of history of Buddhism, am I right? No problem.
Slightly.
Slightly lah. Okay, never mind. Sorry for confusing her. So next time I will try to avoid go to the history maybe lah. I go to briefly, it's okay. So class, maybe you just try to draw, besides your notes, you just draw, okay, Sangha, Mahasangika, then you draw the Sarvastivadin and the Theravada. Then remember, you just briefly draw Mahayana, Madhyamika, and Yogacara. Then you understand that this is the position of the Yogacara and also the position of the Theravada and Sarvastivada. Just simple draw it enough.
Sifu, WhatsApp to us.
You WhatsApp before.
What's the before?
Yeah, you WhatsApp before. But I want to find out where you can get that one, because I tried looking for it, I cannot find it.
Okay, so I WhatsApp you again now, but I think you cannot remember now, because everything WhatsApp to you, you cannot remember. You can only remember well after you copy down the thing, right, Elena?
No, you give me the link for me to print out.
Oh yeah, no problem. I provide you the link now, huh? Okay, I provide you. Okay, to print out. Okay, let's continue, huh? Hey, you keep on refusing copying now. Are you sure without copying now you can memorize the thing? Are you sure that?
No, because from the phone it's very difficult to see.
Oh, I see. Very difficult to see.
Sometimes we don't want to copy it. It's too small, and then cannot really see.
Oh, they cannot see things clearly, including you said it. Okay. You're using.
So I said when you give us the link, we print out, then it's easier.
To use a microscope.
Yes, correct.
No, you shouldn't use microscope. You should use electron microscope. Electron microscope to magnify for 1,000 times, and it will enable you even to see the sperm. Elena, you want to speak, you have to on the mic first, Elena. On the mic first. Hey. Elena?
On the mic.
On the mic. You haven't on your mic.
No, my handphone doesn't show me.
Oh, your handphone doesn't show you anything.
Okay.
I pressed for you already.
No. No, because the handphone is so small, most of the things has been hidden. And then the icons are somewhere. You have to press, then only the icon come out. The last time I used the laptop, which is better, but my laptop got those dancing things, so I cannot use laptop.
Okay, so
and then no, one more thing is that Sifu, when you highlight the main points for us, you have to scroll the picture higher, because there's one corner at the page there where you will hide off the words and we cannot see, right, Sally?
Yes, correct.
That's why Sally keep asking you to move the page a bit higher.
Oh, I understand. That's your picture there, you know. Once I share.
No, it's your picture.
No.
No,
you and I all together in the corner.
No.
For
us,
it's
your picture.
Sifu's picture.
Yeah, but for me, it's your picture, you know. Never mind, it's okay. I just move how you can see lah. That's the point lah. This is the, how to say, I think the software problem. Okay, let's continue. Okay, it's about the Yogacara school. Take a look. This is the Adhana consciousness, which we just explained now. Okay, now we go to the further, with further development. Whose turn? Elena, right? With further development,
With further development, the eyes, ears, nose, and tongue arise from this name and form. With the addition of the body and the mind, the differentiated six sense organ come into existence. Having reached this point, the fetus has a human form. Although it has such faculties as eye, ears, and so forth, the fetus cannot yet see forms or hear sound. After birth, the activity of these six sense organs relating to the sixth object begins. The cognition arising from the meeting of the sixth sense organ and object is called contact. These three things, sense organ, objects, and consciousness, unite because of contact, or alternatively, the union of these three things brings about contact. Once cognition has begun, the developing person has reached a crucial point. When making contact with objects, the developing person first has the reactions of liking, disliking, nor neither liking nor disliking. This can be called agreeable contact, disagreeable contact, or neither agreeable nor disagreeable contact. The condition of sentient being is unfortunately locked in ignorance. This is described as the contact that is associated with the darkness of ignorance. Therefore, after making contact with objects, and based on the self-centered attachment that immediately follows, various complicated mental processes arise. All kinds of good and evil conduct are created, and the cycle of birth and death cannot be avoided. So, the Buddha taught his disciple to guard the doors of sense organs. If there is contemplation of wisdom when the sense organs contact objects, it is called contact that is associated with the illumination of enlightenment. In this case, one can get out from under the cloak of ignorance and break through the chain of 12-fold dependent origination. Contact that is agreeable
let us try to digest first. Okay, yes.
immediately produces sensation. That which is agreeable engenders joyful or happy sensation.
Elena, stop!
Engenders agreeable nor disagreeable engenders indifferent sensation. If there is wisdom and the present, desire will.
Everybody is laughing on you.
I'm concentrating, okay?
Yes.
Sorry.
You read in samadhi. Yes, you are already got a reading samadhi. Okay. So Elena, your thumb up, and once you finish, you tell me. Okay.
You have to push it up.
No, I will push it. Elena, as long as you thumb up, I will just push. No need to say anything. once you finish. Finish. So the paragraph which was read by Elena is related to this part. It's about the six senses. Okay, once the baby, the fetus just now we mentioned, is growing up, the five faculty and the sixth sense will start fully growing up. When it starts fully growing up, it must have a contact with the outside. Basically, we call it six senses will contact with the six dust. We use dust in Mandarin. Just like the eye will contact the color, and the ear will contact with the sound, and the nose will contact with the smell. So this is with so-called six senses. Basically, once there's a six senses, and we have our own consciousness, and there will be and the contact will be arises. When there is some external object, and we have the six senses, and there's once our consciousness is available, there will be the contact. And once there's a contact, there could be the agreeable contact and disagreeable contact, favorable contact and unfavorable contact. Meaning to say that once we have the contact, we start to come up with the feeling. The feeling can be you like it, you dislike it, or either it is a neutral feeling. Okay. Just like now, every day, every day we have our, every day we will contact external object from moment to moment. For example, now, okay, the case of the COVID-19, we heard about the news, okay, from our ear contact, and we read the newspaper. A lot of people suffer unemployment. Or there's a contact. When there's a contact, we got the feeling, and from here, the mind activity start incurring. And the mind activity, the incurring of the mind activity could be create the good karma and it could be creating the bad karma. For example, if let's say one of us suffer unemployment, okay, maybe now we cannot sleep, the mental activity will be involved, the bad karma, because we keep on maybe cursing the government, we keep on cursing our boss, so that is the bad karma which will be arise, and at the same time we have a dislike feeling. So if let's say if we undergo this type of process of activity, we are in this here. You see, we have after six senses, we have what is this? This is what?
Contact.
Contact. Contact. Yes, six sense then have a contact. Then we have a feeling, and from feeling we have a craving. If let's say we undergo unemployment, and the craving will become the hatred. The craving can become the hatred. Then we arise the hatred here. Once the hatred has been enhanced, then the karma create, and the karma itself will become our future effect. So class, I think nowadays, especially the boss for SME, especially in the F&B sector, most of them are quite suffering now. The reason is, if let's say they sack the employee, they have to pay them. They cannot sack the employee, and yet they still have to pay them, and they just got a zero income. You see, I think this situation and these events will fall on heavy karma, especially bad karma for most of the boss of the SME recently. Once they cannot sleep and they keep on wondering, the mind keep on think about this problem, the karma keep on creating, and the feeling basically is the dislike feeling, but they can't avoid. So this is the karma. If it is strong enough, it becomes habitual karma. Maybe the moment they die, this is the picture will arise. So if let's say this is the picture arise during the moment they die, you think where will they go in the next life? Sally, where will the boss go in the next life?
Hell.
Hell. So direct question, the answer. I will tell your boss, Elena. I will try to find out. I will ask the detective to find who is your boss, and then I tell Elena said you go to hell. Well, I think it is logic. The answer is logic. If let's say the defilement is so strong, there's a possibility. But how about Sally?
Well,
Destination?
human, but it's not so where he is an employee himself, or maybe
Reincarnated to become another employee first.
yeah.
From employer to employee, I mean, so that
maybe become one of those workers on the road.
yes, what do you think he reincarnated to become the COVID-19 virus?
No, that one is
class impossible. COVID-19 virus is not a living being. Just bear in mind that this is not a living being. Because according to the science, it is in between lifeless and got a little bit life symptom. Virus actually you can't categorize as a living being. It doesn't have the feeling. It doesn't have the feeling of to survive, and it does. I think it cannot reproduce by himself. All right. Okay. So, Mr. Leung, what is the destination for the employer? Recently, the recent employer, where is their destination for the next life? You think?
It also depends on their previous karma and the present merits they have, whether they go to a wholesome realm or unwholesome realm. That's all.
But if let's say, I mean, the recent trouble keep on arise the moment they die. Basically, it should be unwholesome realm. But even though unwholesome realm, but the wholesome did their good, we reduce the suffering. They won't suffer so much. Something like that. But not to the hell extent, Elena. To tell your boss. Okay.
Maybe beta stage.
Possible or animal stage. Animal stage or something like that. It become a human.
Better I'm still human,
Okay, class, there is a possibility they become the human, but they might become a bad quality human. What does it mean? We call it inferior human. Inferior human is the category is first, without sexual organ. Second, with multiple sexual organ. Third, mental retarded. And also malfunction of 6 organ. All this is category as inferior human. Yeah, it's an inferior human. So we must be careful, so that we don't want to correct this type of karma and become the inferior human. Basically, where does the inferior humans come? Maybe some just after finishing as an animal, okay, they finish the karma as an animal. Once they become a human, they will not directly become a normal human, but become the inferior human first. Sometimes this is the situation, or sometimes the human, before they reach to the animal stage, they will undergo the inferior human first. You just bear in mind, you just try to think about it. Basically, if the mental retarded, or maybe the malfunction of 6 organ, or maybe we call Mongolia's Down syndrome, something like that, their situations quite similar with animal. Do you find that? They don't have a normal human activity, mental activity, but they're just alive there. Every day just keep on eat and just do nothing, hanging just there and they sit and they laugh and they, just like an animal. Does it like it? Quite similar, right? So we call it as an inferior human. Okay, logic. Steady, logic. Logic as an inferior human. Mr. Leung, anything you want to add in? Nothing.
No.
Okay, nothing. A class, inferior human is the definition from Abhidhamma. I don't create it, it's from the Abhidhamma definition. Okay, next, let's go through this. Okay, we already finished this. We talk about the joyful, happy sensation, and also, okay. I missed some point. Okay, class, if let's say we've got the six senses with the contact, if let's say during we contact with our external object, we are mindful, or we call it without ignorance, with the wisdom, we won't create the craving. This is the very crucial state. Most of the meditation, some of the meditation method, they quite emphasize on mindfulness, especially the six senses contact with the six external object. The reason is, they notice that once you are mindful, you can avoid yourself from creating the bad karma. You can avoid yourself from creating the bad karma, and there will be no more future karma if let's say you are mindful during the contact. So they call it guard your senses. Remember this word just now, you just highlight it. Remember, right? You see the gut senses, you see? Gut senses. Let's say I got the door of a sense organ. You have to be always got the door of the senses. Okay, you see, contemplation of the wisdom. Here's the good words: illumination of enlightenment. Once you contact with the illumination of enlightenment, that will be a very mindful contact. And without, the mindful contact wouldn't make the bad karma occur. Next, let's take a look. But anyway, how should I put it? Basically, I think in daily life, do you think it is easy? Okay, maybe you can check for yourself. You can, if let's say you try to review for a whole day, basically once you contact with the external object, it is mindful most of the time or mindless most of the time. Elena?
Sorry, Sip. Can you hear?
Yeah. In your daily activity. Yeah. In your daily activity. Okay. You can you hear me?
Breaking.
Breaking. Okay. Breaking. Okay. Okay, better now, Elena? Better, okay. Meaning to say that in our daily activity, a lot of contact involved in our daily life. If you try to conclude, if I ask you to conclude, the mindful contact, basically, your contact is mindful most of the time, or the mindless contact is most of the time. Elena, for you?
Needs to be mindful.
Again,
to be mindful.
No, your experience, basically most of it is mindful or mindless.
In my line of work that I do, everything I do have to be mindful.
Oh, I see. Why?
I said the wrong thing, KO.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. You will incur the great loss if let's say you're mindless, right? You can key in wrong things, so the mindful maybe. But have you ever experienced mindless? Do you have any mindless experience before?
Yes, do have. When my fire already flare up to here, I'll become mindless.
Then you just simply key the 0 in the computer, you mean? Is this the consequence?
No, I do I don't keep. What I do is I walk away. I go off. When I'm at that stage, I walk away. Basically, I will just walk out. I don't want to talk. I don't want to do anything for the time being.
Oh, you don't simply increase the zero or decrease the zero. You don't do so in the computer.
That one, after you got all of you got to take turn to buy nasi lemak to visit me.
Okay, so you see, okay, so thank you for your answer. Meaning to say that it is not easy to be mindful contact most of the time actually, but we can make it easy lah. If let's say every day we do the meditation, we can ensure that we can guarantee and ensure the quality of the mindfulness. If let's say we do lah, so be careful, how about Mr. Leong? Once you drive the school bus, mindful contact, it's just easy to maintain a mindful contact.
Of course, mindfulness and the focus. If not, after I masuk longkang lah.
Or you might kick the boy out of the bus, all right? You just take them out of the bus.
Yeah.
You kick them out. Okay, anyway, if let's say Mr. Leong, you kick the boy out of the bus, for example, that will be a karma. I mean, this is the unwholesome karma will be created, and this karma might become a determining factor the moment you die. So this is example I mean. Also, Elena, for example, you just purposely increase more zero, then I mean you have you got a conflict between your boss. This is the memory. Will become very crucial the moment you die. This is an example. Once the fire, we let it flaring up. So okay, so this is the explanation. And see, once you are mindful, what will you put in the cake? Will you just put more pepper into the cake and offer to me?
No, I will put more raisins.
or you will put more butter, right? So bring the cholesterol level, keep on more butter, right? Butter and cheese make you.
Oh, you can't, because there's a limit. Cannot increase, simply increase after the whole cake gone case.
Because butter cake, the whole become butter. So I mean all this. I mean basically once we're in the bad mood, this is something can occur to us. But I mean this will become a bad cycle. Whatever we do, we become the image the moment we die. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay. Then here again, besides we talk about the mindful contact, there will be one more mindful in this stage. You see, if let's say you got a wisdom or presence of right mindfulness, desire will not arise. See. Let's take a look. Desire means the craving. If you are mindful here during the contact, class, is it possible for us to stop here? We stop here. We don't let any feeling to arise. Is this possible, class? Possible. We break here. We can have a contact. You see, class. Once our body growing up, we must have our mind and matter, and there must be the sixth sense. Once we have the sixth sense, contact is unavoidable. Contact is unavoidable. But possible for us to break here, we can have a contact, but we don't want to have any feeling. Possible?
Yes. You just walk away.
It's impossible. Where got possible?
You just walk away.
Once you contact, you should got the feeling. Either it's a light feeling, dislike feeling, or neutral feeling. How can you break the feeling? You must have got a feeling one.
Yeah, because when you get that feeling, just walk away. That's what I do.
Yeah. Meaning to say you can't break the feeling. There must
conflict.
After the feeling,
no, I try to avoid the conflict.
I know. I mean the feeling you cannot avoid it, but usually we break here, you see. We got the feeling, but we do want to develop the next stage, which is craving or the hatred. So basically, the mindfulness, we have to stop here. This is the reason why in the Theravada, mindfulness in feeling, or we call it Vedana mindfulness, is so common and popular. Mr. Love, right? In Theravada, so common. They always talk about you must be mindful in Vedana, Vedana. Why? The reason is due to this 12-link dependent origination. So please just be mindful with your feeling, then you can avoid it to go further. But of course, the way I see, basically, it's not easy. Like what Elena said, try to avoid to go elsewhere. Or like Mr. Leong said also, but Mr. Leong doesn't suggest a very concrete, and Sally doesn't suggest a concrete way. Elena is very concrete because once you're angry, you avoid. But it is quite hard for us without angry usually. Quite hard, right? We are still in the world. So you must got your own method to avoid. We can't avoid the feeling of anger, but just don't want the anger induced action. We must try to avoid this. Don't let the feeling of anger to guide us to the further action, which is so vengeance and also which is so strong. Okay. According to the news in China, after a long time of MCO, they start vengeance purchasing, and they go to do the purchasing, and they go to the dining, and also they go to the shopping in the vengeful ways. Okay, it is considered a karma. It is considered a bad karma. Yes, Mr. Leong. Yes. How about the rest? Okay. Well, should you feel happy for the vengeance?
No.
Well, I think the boss will be very happy for the vengeance, right? Not because the economy. Yeah, economy need how to say, the vengeful shopping, vengeful traveling in order to boost it up. You see. So I think many people happy if people take revenge. So what happened after MCO? We all have vengeful shopping, vengeful dining. Okay, Sally?
I'm already shopping.
You shop already, okay. Let's take
shop for groceries every week.
Oh, okay. So no wait for vengeful shopping.
Yeah, no, I won't.
Okay, now we go to the next paragraph. Okay, in the person, like whose turn to read, please?
In persons without right mindfulness, sensations of sorrow or happiness endanger deep desire for the self and objects. Lacking self-control, they can play an active part in increasing desire for this life and the world. They sink deeper and deeper and cannot free themselves. The above explains the process of development of body and mind, starting from a rebirth that is bound to consciousness and from mental activities that arise from the contact with objects. Contact is cognition, sensation is emotion, and those links that follow desire are volitional activity. Persisting and increasing desire in the mind develops to become clinging. There are four types of clinging. Attachment to the self, called clinging to the conventional design destination of self. The general pursuit of five desires is the clinging to desire. Religious practitioners and philosophers either cling to various erroneous views, which are clinging to views, or all kinds of meaningless or ascetic precepts, which is clinging to inappropriate precepts. This behavior becomes this behavior comes from a strong desire for life and the world, which develops into clinging in thoughts or actions and leads to all worldly suffering. At this stage, desire and clinging are the only affirmative activities. The accumulation of activities of all these afflictions become the karmic seed for future existence. In the 12 links, this desire is called existence, which has three aspects: desirous, material, and formless existence. They are the essence of life in the three realms. The existence described in dependent origination, however, is not the existence of the present life, but rather the karmatic force that brings about future life. It can be described as the potential for future life. Once this element exists, after the present life ends, consciousness is bound to be reborn again in the future. Having been born, one cannot avoid aging and death. Birth, aging, and death comes in succession. This is the brief explanation of the continuous of future rebirth and death.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, stop. Too big, too many already. Finish. Time out, please. Okay, thank you so much. If according to the diagram, once we are having the craving, then there must be there must be the attachment arise. What's the difference between the craving and the attachment is the enhancement of the craving will result in the attachment. Okay, that is the meaning of the attachment. Once there is an attachment, there will be a becoming. Okay, and the becoming will continue to have a birth and a death. But from here, now from craving to the attachment, basically the attachment, we have got four definitions. One is the attachment for being self. Okay, just now we read through it. Okay, the attachment for being self. Second is the attachment have a erroneous view, with the wrong view attachment. Okay, the third one, we have an attachment that by practicing some ecstatic practice, we can be liberated. This is the example of the ecstatic practice, which is irrelevant to the liberation. Okay, for example, you see, this is one of the ecstatic practice. According to their belief, maybe you just raise up your hand, it will lead for the nibbana for them. But for us, it is called one of the clinging, we call it erroneous view, which is here, you see. Yeah. We got a 4 type, clinging to appropriate precept. This is the part of the clinging to the appropriate precept. Precept, yes. Okay. And besides this, you see, this is the Shakyamuni before enlightenment. Okay, I think he keep on fasting. All right, maybe one day just eat 1 grain only. This is also an ecstatic practice which is meaningless for enlightenment. What else ecstatic? Let's take a look. This is the ecstatic in Indian, you see. Some they naked the whole body. I think this is wearing cloth like. Some maybe they keep their hair very long. Some they might lie on the bed, a new bed. Some may just let the sun bath them. So this is the so-called ecstatic practice, which is the meaningless. And this fall under this category. This category, clinging to the view. Okay, but there will be the clinging to the desire, meaning to say that we are always attached to the pursuit. We always pursue to the 5 desire. And the clinging to the conventional destination of the self, well, this is, for us, it's very natural because we always have a perception that we got a self. Okay, so this is the clinging part. So next, once we finish the clinging, we'll go to the becoming. Becoming is the karma also. Becoming is the karma in the present causes, and the quality and the definition and the element is similar for the mental formation in the past causes, but we label it as a different name to make us easy to know whether this is the past cause or whether this is the present causes. Okay, since we put it at the becoming, it become our future. It become our future karma. This is where our karma accumulated, and the karma will be ready for the next life. I think I missed some point here. Yes, okay. Then according to here, okay, what is the becoming aim to go for? Okay, the becoming not limited for the human only. The becoming can aim for, we call it a material world and immaterial world. A material world means we call it rupa jhana, and immaterial world means the arupa jhana. Meaning to say that our 12th link of dependent origination is not the law to explain human only, but also the law to explain all the beings, including the rupa jhana and also the arupa jhana, material world and immaterial world. Meaning to say that if, let's say, for example, Sally prefer to the meditation. Okay, once you do the meditation with a very strong karma, especially in the nimitta, the karma, I mean, in the becoming, it will lead you to the rupa jhana, the rupa state, and become the beings in the rupa state. So meaning to say that the becoming, for you, the becoming, how should I put it? Okay, for you, and the becoming, meaning to say that is the state for being, for being the rupa, for being in the rupa state. Okay, if you do the meditation, and the meditation lead you to that state. So that is the meaning for becoming. But once we have a becoming, no matter as a human, as the being in the Rupa Jhana or immaterial state ceremony, there must be the age, birth and the aging, and die again, and have another next life. So that is the circle of dimension. Okay, let's take a look and see how. See, okay, the existence described independent origination is not existence of the present life, but rather than the karmic forces bring about the future life. It becomes your future life, and you see, it will include the desirous, material, and the formless existence. This is the rupa. Plus, material means the rupa. Formless means the arupa. Sometimes we call it material or immaterial state also. I think the terminology here is not standardized. The terminology they use is a little bit different with the terminologies which is more popular in Theravada. Am I right, Mr. Liam? The terminology they use quite different with the Theravada, right?
Yeah, because this Theravada, they use Pali to describe it.
So it make it, but how to say? How to say? You can link to the proper words. I mean, the words they use, you can link it to the Pali terms. Not difficult. They do use a proper word, but maybe not the, how to say, not standard word. They use the proper words, but not the standard word. Okay. So let's keep on. Okay, we got last one more paragraph only. Whose turn? Please finish it. Okay.
The 12 links can be divided into 3 periods and 2 sets of cause and effect. Past causes, ignorance and actions. Engender present effects, consciousness, name and form, the 6 sense organ, contact and sensation. Present causes, desire, clinging and existence, will engender future effects, birth, aging and death. Also, there were lives before the previous life, and there will be lives after the next one, unless one is liberated from birth and death. The continuity of causes and effects through the past, present, and future forms the whole picture of the continuing journey of endless birth and death.
Okay, thank you so much. Elena, which one diagram you can link to after reading the passage? Elena, which one diagram you can link to?
Future effect. Future effect.
No, this is the whole diagram. Yes, the whole diagram is the conclusion. See or not? Hey, see, past causes, present effect, present causes, past effect. Yes. So we finished the whole thing already. Okay. Okay. So.